Today we're dedicating the entire countdown to one of the most passionate, most historically significant, and most technically distinguished watch manufacturers in Switzerland, Zenith of Le Locle. Founded in 1865 by Georges Favre-Jacot in the Jura Mountains, Zenith has always been a manufacturer in the truest and most complete sense of the word. A company that designs, develops, and produces its own movements from the raw materials to the finished caliber entirely within the walls of a single building that has stood on the same hillside for over a century and a half. But Zenith's claim to a unique place in horological history rests above all on a single extraordinary act of courage: the decision by one watchmaker, Charles Véron, to hide a completed prototype of the world's first automatic integrated chronograph movement in the rafters of the Le Locle manufacture in 1969, rather than destroy it as ordered, preserving for posterity and for the watch world a caliber of such lasting importance that it continues to define Zenith's identity more than 50 years after its creation. That movement is the El Primero, and today we're counting down 10 of the finest watches that its birthplace has ever produced. Let's get started. Number 10. Zenith Elite Classic. The Zenith Elite Classic is the most understated and most purely elegant expression of the Le Locle manufacturer's identity, a dress watch of classical Swiss refinement that demonstrates with quiet authority that a company celebrated above all for chronograph innovation and mechanical boldness is equally capable of producing a timepiece of complete, unhurried elegance when the occasion demands it. The Elite Collection takes its name from the in-house caliber that powers it, the Elite Movement family, developed by Zenith as a high-quality automatic base caliber of exceptional finishing and regulation standards that has served the manufacturer's dress and sport collections with consistent distinction across decades of production. The dial of the Elite Classic is a composition of genuine restraint and careful proportion, applied indices, elegantly tapered hands, and a date window positioned with the compositional consideration of a manufacturer that takes dial architecture seriously rather than treating it as a secondary concern resolved after the movement engineering is complete. The slim stainless steel case wears with effortless elegance under a dress shirt cuff, and the overall finishing quality, polished curves meeting brushed flats at edges of commendable crispness, communicates manufacturing ambition that comfortably exceeds the watch's position at the entry level of the Zenith collection. For those approaching Zenith for the first time through the door marked classical elegance, the Elite Classic is a thoroughly satisfying and entirely correct introduction. The Zenith Elite Classic retails for approximately $4,900 USD. Number 9. Zenith Chronomaster Original. The Zenith Chronomaster Original is the most direct and most historically faithful expression of the El Primero chronograph in the current collection, a watch that wears its foundational relationship to Zenith's greatest movement with complete sincerity and considerable visual charm, presenting the legendary caliber in a case and dial combination of genuine vintage authenticity that connects its wearer directly to the golden era of Swiss chronograph watchmaking with a fidelity that enthusiasts and collectors have consistently and vocally appreciated. The tricolor subdial configuration, the 3 chronograph registers finished in alternating blue, gray, and rhodium tones that have been a signature of El Primero chronographs since the original 1969 references, is the Chronomaster Original's most immediately distinctive and historically resonant feature, a visual signature so completely identified with Zenith's manufacturing heritage that it functions as an emblem of the brand's identity in the most direct possible way. The case draws from the proportions and aesthetic language of the celebrated El Primero references of the early 1970s, with the slightly curved lugs, the integrated crown guards, and the overall sense of warm, characterful vintage character that the period produced with an ease and an unself-consciousness that contemporary design sometimes struggles to replicate convincingly. The El Primero calibre inside beats at its original 36,000 beats per hour, a frequency chosen in 1969 to provide the measurement accuracy of 1/10 of a second that the chronograph function requires, and that remains Zenith's defining technical distinction in the chronograph category to this day. The Zenith Chronomaster Original retails for approximately $7,900 USD. Number 8. Zenith Pilot Type 20 Extra Special. The Zenith Pilot. Type 20. Extra Special is one of the most characterful and most thoroughly enjoyable pilot watches produced by any Swiss manufacturer in the contemporary market. a timepiece that connects its wearer to the specific and fascinating history of the oversized aviation observation watches worn by French military, navigators and bombardiers during the interwar and wartime periods, with a depth of historical grounding and a warmth of material character that make it one of the most distinctive and most personally compelling watches in the entire Zenith lineup. The Type 20 designation refers to the original French military specification for the large format pocket and wrist chronometers issued to Air Force navigators from the 1930s onward. Instruments of generous dimension, bold legibility, and absolute mechanical reliability, designed for use in the demanding thermal, vibrational, and cognitive environment of military aviation. The extra special variant translates that heritage into a modern wristwatch of outstanding character through a combination of deliberate material choices, a bronze or steel case that develops a distinctive and personal surface character with wear, a tobacco brown or aged white dial that communicates warmth and patina without theatrical artificiality, and a large onion crown of the style used on original aviation instruments that provides both visual authenticity and practical ease of adjustment. The in-house automatic movement beats reliably within a case of substantial but not unreasonable proportions, and the overall wearing experience, the weight of the case, the character of the dial, the smell of the aged leather strap, creates a connection to aviation history that is genuinely immersive. The Zenith Pilot Type 20 Extra Special retails for approximately $8,100 USDs. Number 7. Zenith Defy Skyline. The Zenith Defy Skyline is the most accessible and most immediately wearable entry point into the Defy collection's bold, contemporary design universe, a sports watch of outstanding visual energy and genuine technical ambition that announces Zenith's commitment to the future of the watch, with the same conviction and the same confidence that the El Primero announced the manufacturer's place in history more than half a century ago. The Defy Skyline's defining visual feature is its star-shaped oscillating weight and the integrated star motif that appears throughout the dial architecture, on the rotor visible through the display case back, on the seconds hand, and in the overall geometric design language of the dial surface, creating a visual identity of complete coherence and immediate recognizability that establishes the Skyline as a design statement of genuine intentionality, rather than an exercise in generic sports watch convention. The in-house automatic movement is regulated to excellent standards and provides the reliable, accurate, everyday performance that a sports watch positioning demands, while the 100-meter water resistance and robust stainless steel construction ensure the Defy Skyline handles an active lifestyle without reservation or ceremony. The integrated bracelet options and the strong graphic dial composition give the Skyline a presence on the wrist that communicates contemporary horological confidence, a watch that looks unambiguously forward while wearing the Zenith name with complete legitimacy and pride. The Zenith Defy Skyline retails for approximately $6,900 USD. Number 6. Zenith Elite Moonphase. The Zenith Elite Moonphase is one of the most compositionally beautiful and most visually enchanting watches in the current Zenith collection, a timepiece that takes the classical elegance of the Elite architecture and elevates it with a moonphase complication of such outstanding aesthetic quality and such poetic visual presence that it transforms what might have been a straightforward dress watch into something genuinely memorable and deeply rewarding to live with over time. The moonphase aperture in the Elite Moonphase is positioned at 6 o'clock with a care and a compositional intelligence that integrates it into the overall dial balance as a natural and necessary element rather than an addition. The deep blue sky disk, the richly detailed moon disk rotating beneath it, and the star-scattered background creating a depth and a luminosity that draws the eye and rewards extended observation in a way that purely functional dial elements rarely achieve. The precision of the moonphase mechanism itself reflects Zenith's serious approach to complication accuracy. The moonphase display requires correction of only 1 day every 122 years, a standard of astronomical faithfulness that places this accessible complication watch in the technical company of manufacturers, charging many times more for the same level of precision. The slim Elite case, the refined dial layout, and the graceful hands and markers surrounding the moonphase aperture create a watch of complete, harmonious elegance that speaks with equal confidence at a formal dinner and in a serious watch collection. The Zenith Elite Moonphase retails for approximately $6,900 USD. Number 5. Zenith Defy Classic. The Zenith Defy Classic is one of the most mechanically distinguished and most visually commanding sports watches in its price segment. A timepiece that places the full depth of Zenith's movement-making expertise at the service of a bold, contemporary design identity and produces a result of outstanding character and genuine technical substance that consistently earns the respect of collectors and enthusiasts who approach it with serious horological criteria alongside aesthetic ones. The Defy Classic houses the elite caliber in an open-worked configuration that transforms the movement into the primary visual statement of the dial. The skeletonized architecture revealing the gear train, the escapement, and the oscillating weight in a composition of deliberate spatial organization and meticulous finishing quality that reflects Zenith's long experience in movement decoration. The case is produced in a range of materials that includes titanium, ceramic, and stainless steel variants across the collection, each bringing its own material character and wearing quality to a design of consistent proportional boldness. The ceramic variants demonstrate Zenith's growing mastery of advanced case materials, delivering a scratch resistance and surface consistency that complements the watch's sport positioning with genuine practical advantages beyond the merely aesthetic. The overall specification, anti-magnetic properties, 100-meter water resistance, and the reassurance of an in-house movement decorated and regulated by the Lolokla manufacturer creates a sports watch of complete contemporary credibility. The Zenith Defy Classic retails for approximately $9,900 USD. Number 4. Zenith Chronomaster Sport. The Zenith Chronomaster Sport is the fullest and most thoroughly satisfying expression of what the El Primero chronograph becomes when Zenith's designers commit to delivering its legendary performance within a sports watch architecture of genuine, everyday robustness and commanding contemporary presence. A timepiece that honors the foundational movement's extraordinary heritage while wearing that heritage with the physical confidence and practical capability of a watch designed for active, demanding modern life rather than display case preservation. The Chronomaster Sports dial is organized around the El Primero's characteristic tricolor subdial system, the 3 chronograph registers in the distinctive alternating tone combination that has identified El Primero chronographs since 1969, but presented here with a boldness of scale and a clarity of contrast that amplifies the visual impact of the movement's signature feature to its maximum expression within the 41mm case. The integrated bracelet, developed specifically for the Chronomaster Sport, gives the watch a coherence of form between case and bracelet that the earlier Chronomaster references lacked, creating a sports watch of complete visual unity that wears with the confident authority of a manufacturer at the height of its powers. The El Primero calibre inside delivers its characteristic 36,000 beats per hour oscillation frequency and its 1/10 of a second chronograph accuracy, a technical distinction that no competitor in the Chronomaster Sports price range and market positioning has ever been able to honestly replicate. The Zenith Chronomaster Sport retails for approximately $9,900 USD. Number 3. Zenith Defy Extreme. The Zenith Defy Extreme is the most physically formidable and most uncompromisingly purposeful watch in the current Zenith collection. A timepiece that takes the Defy collection's commitment to bold, forward-looking sports watch design and amplifies every dimension of it to produce a watch of such commanding presence, such advanced material engineering, and such complete physical confidence that it exists at the outermost boundary of what a wearable sports watch can be without crossing the line into pure instrument territory. The Defy Extreme is built around Zenith's advanced use of carbon fiber and carbon-based composite materials in the case construction. Materials chosen not for their fashionable associations, but for their genuine performance properties, delivering extraordinary impact resistance, minimal weight, and structural rigidity that conventional metals cannot match in the demanding physical context for which the Extreme is designed. The movement inside is the El Primero Stratos flyback, a development of the legendary chronograph caliber specifically optimized for sport applications. With a column wheel flyback chronograph mechanism that allows the wearer to reset and restart timing with a single pusher depression rather than the conventional 3-step sequence, a functional advantage of direct relevance in the athletic and outdoor timing situations that the Defy Extreme is designed to serve. The overall specification, 200-meter water resistance, anti-magnetic construction, shock-resistant architecture, reflects the complete and uncompromising sport brief of a watch that refuses to treat any performance requirement as optional. The Zenith Defy Extreme retails for approximately $14,900 USD. Number 2. Zenith Defy 21. The Zenith Defy 21 is, by any serious technical measure, one of the most remarkable and most genuinely extraordinary chronograph watches produced by any manufacturer at any price in the contemporary watch market. A timepiece whose movement architecture represents a leap of such fundamental ambition and such complete technical conviction that it forces a genuine reconsideration of what is possible in mechanical chronograph. Design and establishes Zenith's Lolokla manufacture as one of the most daring and most intellectually serious movement development organizations in the world today. The number 21 in the watch's name is not decorative. It refers to the oscillation frequency of the dedicated chronograph regulator within the movement, 50 Hz or 360,000 vibrations per hour, representing a timekeeping rate 21 times higher than the conventional watch industry standard of 28,800 vibrations per hour and 5 times higher than the El Primero's already exceptional 36,000 beats per hour. This extraordinary oscillation frequency is achieved through a dedicated secondary regulator, a separate balance wheel and hairspring system devoted entirely to the chronograph function that operates independently of the primary timekeeping regulator, allowing the chronograph to measure elapsed time to 1/100th of a second with a precision that has no parallel in any mechanical chronograph wristwatch produced before or since. The visual consequence of this technical achievement is immediately apparent on the dial. The chronograph second's hand completes a full revolution every second rather than every minute, sweeping continuously around the chapter ring in a display of mechanical motion so rapid and so smooth that it creates an almost hypnotic visual experience that no conventional chronograph can replicate. The Defy 21 represents Zenith's most complete and most audacious statement of what the manufacturer's commitment to movement development, maintained unbroken since 1865, ultimately makes possible when ambition and expertise are brought to bear on a single extraordinary goal. The Zenith Defy 21 retails for approximately $14,500 USD. Number 1. Zenith Chronomaster El Primero. The Zenith Chronomaster. El Primero stands at the absolute summit of this countdown as the single most important, most historically resonant, and most completely realized expression of everything that Zenith represents as a watch manufacturer. A timepiece that is inseparable from the greatest achievement in the manufacturer's history, and that carries, in every component of its construction and every beat of its extraordinary movement, the full weight of a story that is as much about human courage and conviction as it is about mechanical ingenuity and watchmaking excellence. The El Primero movement, introduced on the 10th of January 1969, making it the world's first automatic integrated chronograph movement to reach serial production, is not merely a significant horological development. It is the product of a race whose stakes were nothing less than the future direction of mechanical chronograph watchmaking, a competition between rival teams at Zenith, Heuer, Breitling, Hamilton, Buren, and Seiko that produced 3 separate solutions to the same problem within months of each other and established a technical foundation upon which an entire category of watchmaking has been built across the subsequent 5.5 decades. The role of Charles Vaillant, the Zenith watchmaker who, faced with the industry's directive to destroy all prototypes and development materials in preparation for the quartz revolution that many then believed would render mechanical watchmaking obsolete, instead wrapped the completed El Primero caliber in cloth and concealed it in the rafters of the Lolokla manufacture, preserving it for a future that not everyone in 1969 was certain would arrive, is not merely a charming anecdote in the Zenith story. It is the act of a man who believed, with complete conviction and at genuine professional risk, that what his team had created was worth protecting, worth preserving, and worth the patience of waiting for the world to understand its value again. When Rolex came to Zenith in 1982 seeking a movement accurate enough to power the chronograph function of its new Daytona reference, it was the El Primero, retrieved from those rafters, dusted off, and returned to production that